So we can talk about economics in terms of the cost, the real cost of some of our things that we use, including things like natural gas or gasoline. And so this is can be defined as that the prices of a product do not reflect their total cost. So, for example, when we're talking about the cost of gasoline, oftentimes we don't we don't take into consideration how gasoline is affecting the climate. So that has a cost, and the cost in climate change is going to be very, very big. So we need to the economics would say, well, you need to make sure that the price of gas is high enough, right, that it's going to pay for all of these things that are going to happen because of climate change. And there's just no way that it can do that. But we would all rebel anyway because we can't afford like gasoline that's $10 a gallon, for example. And we could then put that into a fund to pay for figuring out how to get the carbon dioxide back out of the atmosphere and into sinks, like into plants and into the soil. So this is a failure of our market. We also have, we've talked about this previously, but we talked about subsidies. And sometimes we subsidize corporations or companies that that help us, but also we're providing money to them that decreases the cost of what they are providing. So, for example, we might subsidize a company by building roads or building railroads. And coal, for example, is subsidized by the railroad industry because that is the way that the coal is transported around. When we talk about pipelines, we subsidize them by allowing the pipeline to move right through an environment. When we talk about public lands, oftentimes we have systems in place that subsidize companies to extract resources on public lands, and that is at a cost to what we are using as tax dollars. So we are degrading our environment in public lands by allowing companies to go in and to mine and to build big pits in the ground, for example. And so subsidies become a problem. We could also talk about externalities. So what is the real cost? What are the external things that we're not taking into consideration? And that degradation of the environment is oftentimes a big externality. So we could, I think we talked about this in terms of logging and how we're having an externality would be when we log a hillside, for example, then the soil is more likely to erode from that hillside, and it could possibly come down as a landslide and create problems with our roads, and then we have to plow them out, right? So clear cutting and soil instability would be an externality to clear cutting, something that we don't take into consideration as a possible cost. So oftentimes these are what we refer to as market failures because we're not taking into consideration the true cost of that economic activity that is occurring.